He's been too good to wait. He's been too good to hold my praise. I won't hold my praise. No, I won't hold my praise. He's worthy now. I won't hold my praise. He's sovereign now. I won't hold my praise. Oh, it's hot, Lord. Jeremiah said it's like fire. Shut up in my bones. Jeremiah said it's like fire. All I need is God. Can't nobody else save me. What's up, Abba's kids? Welcome to Daddy's Girl Podcast. I believe last I spoke with you, we were talking about Jonah. And we're going to be talking about Jonah for a little bit because God has just shown me a lot that he has going on in the life of Jonah that he wants to share with us. And I think where we left off, Jonah was being disobedient. Yeah, that's how it started. He was so disobedient that he just kept going down to Joppa, down to the ship, in the bottom of the ship, and then eventually down into the sea, into the belly of the whale. But I don't even think I finished chapter 1. Let's continue with chapter 1. Verse 7 to the end just shows us that God will not allow you to go through a storm that includes someone else without showing them something. If you have any regrets or hard feelings about yourself because of a decision that you made, but also involves someone else, don't you worry. God has got them too. God has got them too. So he had to pay a fee. And then let's just jump a little further. So at the end of Jonah 1, we see Jonah being swallowed whole by a whale. That's crazy in itself. Swallowed whole. No biting, no chewing. No, he's in there unscathed. No bite marks, no blood. Just wet and dark and secluded. But that itself was a fee-free repositioning orchestrated by God. But I'm not gonna bother that yet. So Jonah's on the ship with these people. They're scared. He's asleep. They're like, how could you be asleep in this mess? They all called in their gods. They're like, you need to call on your God. Jonah said, oh. He recognizes who he was when he woke up after the slumber, him being asleep because he's so comfortable in his disobedience. When they woke him up, he was reminded of who he was and who God was. Oh yeah, I serve the God of the seas and the earth. Oh, the one who's doing all this right now. Reminded him who he was, who God was, and he said, yeah, y'all need to just throw me off in the water. They're like, whoa. I'm afraid now because your God did all this. No, I'm not about to throw you away because that's your God. He's going to definitely reprimand us for throwing you out into the water. And they tried to row back. Let's go back to how those men were affected by Jonah's decision. Have you ever been affected by someone's decision and they're chilling? And it's sort of frustrating to you, right? Because how you chilling and I'm not? I see the mess that we're in and it's your fault. Sleepy Jonah represents those experiencing escaping through distraction, spiritual numbness, avoidance, and living comfortably. That's equivalent to like a parent ignoring responsibilities as a family suffers, or a leader refusing to lead while others carry the weight, or even a believer staying silent when God has called them to speak. These all affect others in unknown ways when we're disobedient and we're comfortable in our disobedience. The storm caused these sailors to call on all their gods they knew, but when they woke Jonah, they said, hey, call on your God. And it was like Jonah remembered who he was in Jonah 1:9. Jonah 1:10, they knew that he was running. He ended up telling them, I'm running from God. They're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? It's so funny because in verse 10, he tells them that he's running. In verse 11, the sea gets louder. That's interesting. Why does the sea get louder? It's like, all right, it's decision time. Rumble, rumble, rumble. What are we going to do? Verse 12, he's like, it's basically like him repenting. Verse 12, he says, okay, just pick me up and throw me in the water and everything will calm down. Verse 13, instead they tried their best to row back to land, but they could not, for the sea grew even wilder than before. That shows me that effort does not trump surrender. You have been or are currently Jonah, and you know what to do. But people are trying to save you and their relationship. That could be you right now. But the thing is, God isn't opposed to hard work. But there are seasons where the breakthrough doesn't come from you trying. Doesn't come from you trying harder. It doesn't come from you working harder, but it comes from you yielding to him. Sometimes we exhaust ourselves trying to fix what surrender would have solved. If only we would have surrendered, we wouldn't have wasted time, wouldn't have wasted money, wouldn't have gotten these people in our mess. But eventually they gave up. They prayed to God, oh, please don't hurt us, because we were throwing this guy overboard. Threw him overboard immediately. They took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm. It doesn't say like after a few minutes. It doesn't say after some time. Immediately, the raging storm grew calm. That doesn't say that when we're obedient, immediately things change. Immediately the storm goes away. No, but there is peace. Immediate peace when you begin to submit to God. But I think what's also very sweet about this, as I was saying earlier, is like, yeah, he has these people in his mess. And some of us have made decisions and have people in our mess. But you know what? God works everything together for the good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And whether they know it or not, they've been called. And they're loved. But in verse 15 through 16, his stubbornness and eventual surrender allowed these men to see God. And that was God's ultimate plan. Proverbs 21:30 says, there is no wisdom, no insight, no plan that can succeed against the Lord. Even though Jonah wanted to run away, he wasn't going to succeed. Not against the Lord. That was against God's will. And his will would be done. Even the men rowing back, God's will is the final. And it's sweet because God sent the storm. And he had those men in mind. He had Jonah in mind, but he also had those men in mind. God sees the beginning from the end. He's such a sweet father. And that wasn't the end. Jonah didn't die in that water. Even though, who knows what his thoughts were when he didn't even consult God when he said, throw me over. But he knew that he was the issue. And I took that as a repentance. But God knows. He's such a sweet father. And so when he was falling into the depths of the sea, God had sent the storm earlier. Hey! That's so cool. Oh, he wanted to do it too. I hope I got that in my rear view. That boy was doing a little wheelie. Cool kids. Not only did God send the storm, but he sent the whale. He sent the whale to swallow this man up whole. The Lord provided a great fish to swallow Jonah for 3 days and 3 nights. I have so much more to say about that, but I will bother it later. As I say at my church, bother it to my pastor. That's my dude. I love Pastor Darius. Anyways, God is so faithful. He will use the storm that you're in to redirect you. If you're not quite sure what it is, maybe he's trying to redirect you. And it's only until we make the decision to submit to him that he allows that storm to be calm. And he can direct us into the next, which we will see a little bit later. But wake up, you sleeper. Get up. God is calling you to something. He's calling you to greater. He has a plan for you. And when we trust him, it all works together. For all of us, not just for you, but all the people involved. God is so faithful to do that. I love y'all. He loves you way more. And I know that was all over the place, but that's what you get. I will hold my praise. All I need.